Hey, this is Brian Niederhaus with Smarter Networker, and today we have an outrageously exciting opportunity to sit down with the founder of our amazing program, Dani Johnson herself, and get to hear from her exactly what this program is designed to do, how it can help you and your business, and how it can help your business grow, how it can take some of the burden off of your shoulders. Man, I know a lot of you are out there struggling with your home business. Maybe you're brand new in the business, looking for some motivation, some training, some of the basics you need. Maybe you've been in business for a while and you're sitting at sort of a plateau in your business, wanting to know how do you get to the next level. And Smarter Networker can help you with that. And even if you've got a huge business and you're really excited about where you're at, Smarter Networker can help you take that business to a much higher level. Dani Johnson is a true industry legend. She's built amazing businesses, made millions of dollars in this industry, and I've actually had the privilege of knowing her for about 19 years now, which is pretty awesome. I got the amazing opportunity to sit with her and actually build a home-based business together, which was one of the most amazing opportunities for me to learn the skills it took to be successful in this business. I came into this business, like a lot of you might have, from another industry and with a certain skill set, and I was missing some pieces for sure. And with Dani's training, we just were able to make some big improvements in our own personal skills, how to bring a lot of people to the training that gave them those skills. And now with Smarter Networker, those skills are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so I just wanted to welcome Dani to our little presentation here.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I love sitting with you and I love talking about this. And I love the fact that we have such a history together.
Yes.
Almost 20 years. Well, 20 years ago, I met your wife.
Right.
She was not your wife then, but
yes.
Yeah, through the skills that she learned that we teach right on Smarter Networker, she recruited you.
Right.
Not only as a distributor, but
yes.
a husband making babies.
Yes.
So anyway.
Yep.
So what do you think is really important that the person who's watching this video right now should know?
Before we get too far into it, please, if you'd share your story a little bit. A lot of the people seeing this may not know who you are, which is kind of amazing. But a lot of people haven't heard too much about you. I'm sure they've heard your name, but they may not have heard your whole story. So maybe you could share with us in just a few minutes a little bit about.
All right. Well, 3 years before I met you, because I don't know if you realize that, but 3 years before I met you, that's when I was homeless.
Wow.
So that's pretty trippy, isn't
it?
So I actually started off in life with not the best thing working for me. My parents were drug-infested welfare recipients, and I certainly didn't learn anything about money. I didn't learn anything about work because you know that my entire life they never had a job. They never got up out of bed and got dressed and went to work somewhere. So they lived paycheck to paycheck, and they fought constantly about money. They were always running out of money before the 1st and the 15th of the month. And so I learned that money was very hard, and I learned that I didn't want to be like my family at all. In fact, I also suffered through a tremendous amount of abuse from the man that raised me. When I was 17 and a half, I found out that he wasn't even my father, that I was actually adopted by him. So I had a really rough background. I was violently abused. I was sexually abused, emotionally abused. I was abused in every fashion. I mean, there wasn't really a way that I wasn't abused. And so at the age of 17, I started to make some really bad choices that really kind of shaped a part of my life that had been very, very painful. And then at 19, I got introduced to some entrepreneurs that were actually in the industry that you're a part of. And these entrepreneurs kind of introduced me to a totally different way of doing business. I obviously wasn't a business person. I was working at the mall. I was 19. I didn't have a lot of experience with anything in life besides trying to leave behind what my past was. And so when I got introduced to these people, it changed everything. It actually scares me to think that if I said no to the person who invited me to that very first presentation. It really does. It frightens me to think, where would I be today if I told my friend John, who I was dating at the time, and John, we worked with him for years, and still we're great friends. But anyway, if I had said no, when I got introduced to that first conference call, and I was that person that was like, who is this guy talking on the phone? It sounded like he was spitting all over the phone, and it just wasn't for me. And that's what I told my boyfriend at the time. Like, this sounds great for you. You're really smart. You're highly educated. I'll send you referrals, but I definitely know that it won't work for me. Long story short, I end up getting started eventually after he persisted for 2 straight months. He followed up with me, and he followed through. He was not letting me off the hook at all. So I get started, and by that time now I'm 20. And I failed the first 6 months, and I failed miserably. I could not get anyone to show up to presentations. I couldn't get anyone to say yes to wanting to purchase the product that I was marketing. I couldn't get anybody to say yes to actually market it as a business either. I mean, I don't know what I was really saying. All I know is what I was saying was causing people to say this. I need to talk to my wife. I don't have the money. I get paid in 2 weeks. This is really not for me. Is this one of those kind of things? These were the kind of responses that I was getting. And I would actually be the fool that would call them back in 2 weeks, where they would say, call me back in 2 weeks and I'll be ready to get started. And there I did. I called them back in 2 weeks and, oh, you know what? This is not the right time. I don't really like sales. I got all of those excuses for 6 months, and I lived off of my credit cards for those 6 months because I had quit my job and now I was trying to make money full time in my own business. Well, I came in contact with 2 young men that changed everything. And here's what changed. One of them was making $15,000 a month. In fact, he was making $15,000 more a month than I was, which meant his check was $15,000 a month. So I don't know what happened, but in a moment, and it was a rare moment, I got teachable. And I saw him doing the presentation, same product, same compensation plan, everything was the same. But for some reason, man, I sat forward and I started taking notes, and I begged him after that presentation was over to work with me. And then this is what I said to him. I said, will you teach me how to crawl, walk, then run? I said, please think that I know nothing about the product, that I know nothing about the company, that I know nothing about the compensation plan. Please treat me like I'm just greener than green. I just came off the street and I know nothing. And I begged, and he let me grovel, dude. He let me grovel. So he finally said yes, and he gave me a few conditions. These conditions totally shaped my life for finances, relationships, and business. One condition was, if you give me one excuse, I will not work with you. Well, I had lots of excuses, and I mean a ton. I had the excuses that I was a woman, that I was young, I didn't have a college education, I dropped out of high school, went back and cheated to get my diploma. I couldn't read. I still hadn't even read a book by that point. I had all this background. I was embarrassed of it, didn't want anyone to know about it. I never succeeded in anything before besides basketball. What's that going to do for me in business? Right. I was just stupid. And I came from this background of welfare recipients and drug addicts. So there was no way that I had anything to draw from. So let's fast forward just a little ways. He tells me about a training that I needed to go to. And right away, I wasn't going to go. I simply was going to say, it doesn't make sense to spend money to go to a training. Number one, I didn't go to college, so I didn't understand the concept of investing into skill or investing into education. So he said if I didn't go, then I might as well quit because I was going to fail anyway. That made me mad. It did. That pushed all the wrong buttons, or I guess it pushed all the right buttons. Right. He said, if you don't go, you might as well quit because you're just going to fail anyway. So I went. I borrowed the money from my boyfriend. I didn't show up to the birthday party that I was planning for him. Go figure. And that was with his blessing. He said, I think you should go. I think that you should learn what you need to learn to be able to build it and then come back and teach me. I went, and after 8 days of using the information, I made $4,000 with the same product, wow, the same company, the same compensation plan. Nothing changed besides I learned a few things that flipped everything around. Now people showed up for presentations. Now people were saying yes. Right. Now people were saying, can I start at the top package? Wow. Versus, no, I can't afford the little product. I can't afford that. But now people were saying, here, I want to start at the top. And the top at that time was $5,000, which that was a pretty hefty top. Right. So in that next 6 months, and I went to training every 3 to 4 weeks, I spent $25,000 actually in learning from this millionaire on how to build a business. And I made 50 grand, which was a tremendous amount of money. Then I got stupid. I met and married a guy that I only knew for 7 days that I met at one of those seminars. He was really hot. But anyway, so I meet and marry this guy, and within a few months, I wind up losing everything. And the millionaire trainer, yeah, he stole my whole business. He completely embezzled me, wow, re-sponsored everybody, just took everything out of the line that I had built and started some gossip about me that was totally untrue, and told everyone I was going to be broke within 90 days, which was true. I was broke within 90 days. That's what happened when you steal someone's business, right? Right? Wow. So, and mind you, he got his. The government actually shut him down years later, which, what goes around comes around. His was a bit bigger of a loss than my little business. So anyway, I ended up homeless. The man that I married took off to Japan with another woman, and I had $2.03 to my name, a $35,000 debt. I was 50 pounds overweight. More importantly than all of that, I lost my dream. I totally lost my dream. I completely lost focus. I completely lost my dignity. And I began to think, I wish I had never made money. I wish I had never become successful, because it was harder to taste it and lose it all.
Right.
Then it would have been easier to have never tasted it. So thank God I had invested in those trainings. Thank God I had met the people that I met the year and a half before, because here I'm homeless. I am so bitter about the whole home business industry. I did not believe in it anymore. I didn't want anything to do with it anymore. I believed that all those people were crooks. I believed that it was nothing but a big giant hype job, and that it really truly didn't work, and that I had been totally deceived. I was so hurt by that millionaire, and so hurt by the business and all the people that I thought were my friends that just ran away and fled, that I never wanted to do anything with that whole industry. Wanted nothing to do with it. So for 30 days, I was a homeless woman. And 2 weeks after being homeless, I got a job as a cocktail waitress, which was, at that time, incredibly humbling for me, on top of being homeless. And then I had a major wake-up call. One day, I heard a voice tell me to pick up my mat and walk, and I did. And I had some questions rolling around in my head. I also had some facts rolling around my head, like I shouldn't have been hanging out with who I was hanging out with, and that I got to step up, rise up, and do something with my life. The next day, using the skills that I learned from the home-based business industry, I started a brand new business with a product I didn't even like. And I was fat. And it was a product that had to do with that kind of thing, and I had no credibility at all. I had bounced checks all over town. There was no way that this was going to work for me. But there was also no way that being a cocktail waitress making $1,500 a month was going to help me get into an apartment anytime soon or pay off my $35,000 debt. So I started that business with $2.03 to my name, a $35,000 debt, and really bad credibility, just using skill. And see, there's one thing that you gain from Smarter Networker: skill set. Yep. That's one thing no one can steal from you. No one can take your skill. They can take your money, they can mess up your reputation, they can't take your skill. So with that skill, my first 4 days, I made $2,000 profit, generating $4,000 in sales, and it was a 50% profit margin, so I made $2,000 in profit. The next 30 days, I worked 30 hours, and I made $6,540. The next month, I had quit my job as a cocktail waitress, and that was really, really scary for me. And I made over $10,000 working part-time that first month, meaning I didn't have another full-time job. Next month, $14,000. My 10th month, I made over $80,000 in 1 month. My first year, I made $250,000, and by the end of my second year, I had become a millionaire for the very first time. This all happened by the time I was 23. Since then, the story gets deeper and wider and bigger. Since then, today, I'm a multimillionaire after years of making mistakes financially, after years of making mistakes in a home-based business. And my husband and I learned the hard way how to begin to accumulate wealth. We now have 5 companies. We're multimillionaires. We have international companies. Our passion is helping people to succeed. We're an international best-selling author. Give me a break. A girl that didn't read a book until she was 21 years old, that now the books are being taught in universities as curriculum, as well as in grade school. There's entire schools that run their entire school program on grooming the next generation for success.
That's awesome.
Give me a break. I've been on hundreds of television interviews, and I mean hundreds of radio interviews, print magazine interviews. In fact, I was just on Forbes and was the most read and most popular story for 5 consecutive days. And I've been invited to a summit for the 100 most powerful women in the world.
Wow.
Whatever. Awesome. So anyway, I don't know if you had seen Secret Millionaire. So what I'm saying is this. This industry not only helps you to learn skills that can grow you a phenomenal income, but also to open doors into other things that you didn't even have a chance for. Being on ABC Secret Millionaire, a whole hour, 12 million people viewing it, the #1 watched show on ABC at that time. Being on the Oprah Winfrey Show. The list goes on, hundreds and hundreds of interviews. So for someone to come from my background of a homeless woman and starting in the industry that I started in, to then go to a place of an entire hour program being about the work that you do with feeding orphans and things of that nature, And being on the Oprah Winfrey Show, I'm not too sure how many people who started in the home-based business industry who ever ended up on Oprah. So in a nutshell, that's the story, because we could go for hours on the background of the whole story. So I met Brian 3 years after I was homeless, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Super awesome. Well, I have a question. When a new person gets started, okay, they've got all this doubt, all this fear, all this, I don't think I can do it. I don't know if this is the right company. I don't know, all these questions, right? And they're not. What's the first step that they have to do? What do you suggest that they do immediately?
What's interesting about what you just brought up is I had all that. I had all those fears, and am I in the right thing? Do I have the wrong product? Because no one was purchasing, so I thought it was the product was the problem. The thing that you need to realize if you really want to succeed in this industry, and it's a powerful industry, and it's created more millionaires than any other industry. I happen to be one of them. So there's many of them out there. And we have been able, through our training programs that I've been teaching for 20 plus years, Brian happened to be in those training groups that only my organization got to participate with. And remember, people used to lie, cheat, and steal to get a hold of our scripts. They used to say, oh no, I'm not in another business, and like, oh, I'm coming to First Steps. And they would try to take that information and go duplicate it. But the thing I can tell you is that it really has nothing to do with your product. It really has nothing to do with your compensation. It really has nothing to do with your company. I know that right now you're going, no, Dani, that can't be true. No, I'm telling you, it's way true. That was one of the very first things that I had learned from that original millionaire, is that the product means nothing. It's having the ability to market, having the skill set to take that product to the marketplace. Because if having the best product really mattered, why is Walmart so successful? They have the worst products, and yet they are dynamically successful. So it has nothing to do with that. And remember, I told you when I was homeless, I didn't even like our product. And that product in that industry was pretty much a Target Walmart quality product. Yet it was a multi-billion-dollar corporation. So I've seen through the last 20, I got started in 1989, or maybe it was 1988, whatever. I think it was 1988. Anyway, I've seen a lot since 1988. And that's 25 years. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Anyway, so in that amount of years, I've seen some of the greatest, snazziest, sexiest products flop. And I've seen ugly, nasty tasting, ridiculous products soar. And it has nothing, and I've seen the vice versa on both. I've seen nasty products fail, and I've seen great, beautiful, sexy products do really well. However, it has nothing to do with the product. It has everything to do with the skill set of the distributorship. That's what it has to do with. And unfortunately, most companies don't put a focus there. They're just hoping to get lucky that hopefully someday I'm going to find a real hot shot that I can sponsor, and then bam, I'm going to get rich. Friend, I'm here to tell you that just doesn't happen. You don't want to base your career on chance. You don't want to base it on hope. You want to base it on good old-fashioned work and skill. The value that the marketplace pays for is all based on your skill. And so it's whether or not you communicate in a way that causes people to say, nah. It's whether or not you communicate in a way that causes people to go, I gotta go. I don't have the money. I need to, all the excuses that I used to get. It was after I invested into my skill set and I treated this as a real profession. That is when I built a multi-million-dollar business. And that's when I helped other people build a multi-million-dollar business. So you got to kind of pull your head out of the clouds as well as the sand, because there's a lot of people out there that try to sell the industry to be a lucky get-rich-quick thing. Right. It's not. I always built it as a business. I taught you how to build it as a business. Yep. You were a business owner before running a bike shop, so many similarities to it in how you communicate with the general public, how you communicate on Facebook, how you communicate through Twitter, how you communicate on your website, if you have one, or on video or on audio. Do you know the most powerful communication skills that causes people to want to follow you, that make you magnetic and make them say, I have to do this. I have to work with them. I'll do anything that it takes to be able to get the chance to work with you, which is what you did when you first got started. Yeah. Same exact thing. And that's all communication skills. It has nothing to do with the product at all. Yeah.
So I think that was the thing I learned the quickest. So I needed some skills. I didn't have all the skills I thought I did.
Maybe you should talk about that.
What? About not
that you thought you did.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I was in retail sales, which is a great skill. I mean, working with people all day long, but I didn't, when you talk about getting the response of an objection it was such a light bulb for me, because it's like, oh wow, you mean something I'm saying is making them say that? It's not just an objection that they already had.
Nope.
It's like I'm bringing that out of them, rather than bringing out, okay, I want to do this, what do I got to do?
Yes.
So that was one of the big things I learned early on. In fact, after my first training with you, I came out and made $2,000 in my first 10 hours.
Yeah, that was like the standard story.
Yeah, everybody
it was the most common story. Was I made $2,000 my first 10 hours.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And you know what I think is so important, that a lot of people think that they can do one training seminar or one event or one something and get all those skills and then go do them and put them in play. It's not like that. It's something you've got to constantly working on forever.
Yes.
And that's what I love about Smarter Networker, because every day now you can plug into an hour of you just pouring into people and get so much out of it. Man, even after the first day, the second day, the third day, people are posting on Facebook and doing these things. I can't believe what I just got. This is so amazing. Yep. And to get 30 days for free and then hundreds of hours on the pro member side is such a powerful thing, just for your own personal development. Yeah. I think the consistency is such a key.
Yeah, it really is. And I want to talk about this a little bit, because I want you to think about this for a minute. You notice what Brian was just saying. It's like, okay, yeah, I did this training once. Okay, so I want you to imagine, what about the kid right now who is entering into medical school and he wants to become a surgeon? Does he just take one class to do that? Does he just take one semester to do that? No, man, the kid goes to school for 10 straight years, 100% focused on becoming a surgeon. And he has to get specialized knowledge in the field of what he wants to cut people's bodies open for. Okay, is it a brain surgeon? Right. Is it a heart surgeon? Is it a orthopedic surgeon? What kind of ear, nose, and throat surgeon? What kind of a surgeon is it? And so those people that make more money in the medical profession are the ones who get specialized knowledge and specialized skill. Never before has that been available to the home-based business industry. Oh, there's been a whole lot of people out there who say they can teach you, but based on the results. Listen, when DaniJohnson.com was actually started almost 10 years ago, we started with only teaching home business materials. Through the years, our clients were like, we want to bring our uncles and our cousins, and we want to bring these other people who are not in the business. Hey, I've got a friend who's running a company. All of this works for that too. Or people would start exceeding their salaries in their jobs. I mean, they started getting bonuses and promotions in their jobs at the same time of growing their home-based business to exceed their full-time income. Mm-hmm. So people around our clients were saying, can we come too? Can we come too? And that's when First Steps to Success, the first part of it, started to open up to more of a generalized content so that everybody could participate, which is why we created Smarter Networker, so that you have a 100% focus of nothing but the strategies and the methods that work. So our first 2.5 years, we received over 10,000 testimonials from our clients. I remember from one of the calls that we have in here in the Smarter Networker, this was in 2004. And we had a man who had spent years in the industry flopping and failing, and he kept quitting a company and start another company and then quit that one because he thought it was the business is why he was failing. Well, just one of the calls that's inside of that 30-day boot camp, right after that call, check this out. A week later, he writes us an email, and this is what he says. By the way, he's from Maryland. He's still a client of ours 10 years later.
Wow.
Here's what he says 9 years later. He says, right after that training call, I started booking the appointments and I stuck to everything you said. I made $2,000 in 10 hours.
Wow.
Exactly. And he had been flopping and failing in the same business and in all these other businesses that he tried. And what was it? He increased his skill. It was one new skill that he had learned. He's still plugging in. He's still tapping in every single day on those websites. He's making money. So for you to think for a minute that you could be smarter than a doctor or a surgeon, you might want to rethink that. Because not only does the doctor or the surgeon go to school for 10 years and they invest a lot of money and a lot of time into their education to make what? $500,000 a year? $700,000 a year? Most doctors make less than I do. That's pretty sad. And less than I ever did as a person running a home-based business. So they don't even make what you can make in your home-based business, but they know to invest that 10 solid years. Not only that, Brian, you know that the training doesn't stop after that. Mm-hmm. For a surgeon, they continue to take more classes. They continue to read reports. They continue to advance their education and their skill. Why? There's always new developments. The world is ever changing. There's a new economy. And if you don't know the new economy skills for specifically a home-based business, you might as well just take that kit that you bought and shove it under your bed and let it bounce off the other 17 kits that you have. It's time to get serious and make a decision to turn this into your chosen profession. That's what I did 20 some odd years ago. It was my chosen profession. I dove in with everything I had. I invested into my skill. I continue to invest into my skill. And because of that, the thing grows, it builds, and wealth has been created out of it. So that's a very important point that you brought up.
Absolutely. And the other thing I love about Smart Networker is not only can get, recordings every day and listen to new material every day. It's so cool. A great way to start your day, get focused, get on the phone, whatever you're going to do. But also, there's a lot of great material. You've put together, books and CD sets, and your script books are like gold.
They are total gold. Dude, tens of millions of dollars has been made from our clients who use those script books every single day. Tens of millions of dollars. Yep.
I remember my first time we didn't have a script book. We had like a Xerox.
We had all the scripts Xerox copied. Exactly.
Right?
They're the same scripts.
Yeah. No, I know.
Turn them into a book.
I know. Exactly. I remember Kristen, my wife now. She came into my house and just said, "Brian, you're a coward. You we have a meeting in 3 hours and you haven't even picked up the phone yet." I'm like, "You're right." So I picked up the phone. I read the dang script to 9 people at 3:00 in the afternoon. At 6:00, 8 of those 9 people were at my house. I mean, the scripts work, and now we've got them all in one place, and it's available on Smart Networker. It's some way you can get those tools if you want them. They're there for you. I mean, the skills you're going to learn from the free recordings are awesome and everything, but lots of other great material. But it all kind of leads you to First Steps to Success in the Home Business Entrepreneur Workshop.
That's if someone wants to make a 6-figure income.
Right.
I mean, if they really want to go all the way, then First Step Success is it. There's no question about it. I want to touch on this script thing with you because so many people don't know what to say to people.
Right.
They don't know what to say, and so they wing it. And then, so there are some that are like, yeah, I can wing it, and I can bring people in. Okay, that's fun. But how many of your people can wing it and bring people in? See, that's the deal. I mean, you were actually third level to me, right? Because Elisa, Sophie, actually it was Crystal, Elisa, Kristen, and then you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so you were actually 4th level down. And so how in the world were you able to succeed? Simple. First step success, follow these scripts. It was a simple system.
Right.
And simple systems work and simple systems duplicate. Not all this mumbo jumbo, hard psychological nonsense. Just pick up the phone and read a script and book the presentation. And then we had a closing script.
Right.
You read a closing script. So you don't even have to think. You just have to regurgitate. And if you regurgitate enough times, you're going to get this thing down. And you're going to become like my Diane McGuigan, single mom. Gosh, single mother who had no food in her pantry. Her church was feeding her family, okay? How humiliating for this mother, right? And what a sweet church that she had, because that doesn't always happen.
Right.
So here the sweet mother is suffering financially. And mind you, she tried to make the industry work for a long, long time. For a really long time. And it wasn't until she tapped in to First Step Success, using the script, sticking to everything, listening every single day for hours a day, not just 1 hour a day. She listened for hours a day. You're probably not even going to believe this, but you can look her up even on Facebook right now, and you can hear her tell her own story to you. Here it is. Made $100,000 the first 6 months. In the next 6 months, made over another 100. In fact, she made $250,000 her first year. Doing what? Listening every day, reading a script, putting people in front of a presentation, reading another script, and putting people in front of First Steps to Success, which is like your degree in how to become a professional. And by the way, she didn't miss one. She consistently plugged into those calls, consistently plugged into the First Steps to Success, consistently brought people to those events. $250,000 later, and she just wrote you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell them what she said.
She just gave me this card the other day in Orlando, Florida. And she wrote that she has been using Smart Networker and it works. I keep recruiting and plugging everyone into Smart Networker. She made $22,610 in 1 day. Whoa, I mean, she's just plugging people in there, and then it gets people the confidence and the skill to say, okay, I can do this, and then they decide to get moving. Yeah. And that's what she's doing. And
it's relieving her of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we're finding, actually. So many people are saying that. People who, whether they're brand new or they're seasoned, Because if someone doesn't know how to build this type of business right, they're going to build a lot of pressure on themselves because of so many people that they're dealing with. And if they don't understand really how to architect this type of a business, they create pressure on themselves and others. And in fact, I've coached hundreds and hundreds of leaders in the industry who, in fact, one woman, to be honest with you, walked away from $80,000 a month because the stress and pressure was too much. Wow. Too much. Ended up in a mental hospital, and she was crying at First Steps Go, like, where were you 5 years ago when I quit?
Right.
And so with Smarter Networker, coupled with First Steps to Success, you're going to learn how to build it right. You'll learn how to build it right. Building it right means that you're not building more pressure. It means you're duplicating yourself and developing leadership. And when you do that, pressure comes off of you. Your people are succeeding. They're getting paid. You will even have some of your people go farther faster than you. Yep. You had that happen.
I had that happen.
We should talk about that.
Yeah. That is true. I mean, that's the ultimate. That's the thing that our business promises is, number one, the residual income, which is elusive for a lot of people.
It is.
And having other people go out and make more than I did in my case, and many people do, and have them go, because it wasn't, the way we built our business wasn't focused on me. It wasn't focused on any person. It was a system. And that's what I love about Smart Network. It's a system to take the pressure off, to give people great training, and to move them forward in the plan so they can go out and be who they're supposed to be. And if somebody growing and doing awesome in the business, that only moves my check up.
Yeah.
Or
their check in fact, up. You had brought somebody to First Step. Actually, you and your wife brought 3 women. This one time. I mean, you guys brought lots of people through First Steps, but this one time, his wife actually went up to her class reunion and reconnected using the skills that we teach at Smarter Networker and at our live training events. And she had brought them to First Steps to Success. One of them came up to me on a break and said, what do I have to do to make a 6-figure income my first year? And I said, all I want you to do is put no less than 10 brand new people in front of this event. First Steps to Success. In this case, it would be the Home Business Entrepreneurs Workshop. Put 10 people, no less than 10, brand new people in front of this workshop, and you will make no less than $100,000 your first year. Well, she did that. Yep. She put no less than 10. She made $125,000 her first year in business. Wow. What if you did that? What if you put no less than 10 people a day or a month or a week on Smarter Networker, and then drew from those 10 a week, maybe 10 that get to the Home Business Entrepreneurs Workshop? It's 3 days. What if they're getting trained up to become professionals? And what if you find that they take it seriously? It is their chosen profession. They are highly skilled people in the industry. And what if, could you imagine getting somebody started who goes out and makes over $100,000 their very first year? By the way, we hear those stories all the time, all the time. Yeah. Every single year, we create brand new testimonials of people who came through the training, listened daily, plugged into the live events, and made $100,000 in their first 6 months, made $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 their first year. I had a guy that when we first started, and by the way, I got to touch this first. Something that you said, the training, the scripts, all that kind of stuff. I hope you understand, if you're listening to me right now, I hope you understand this. Those were only available to my organization. Yep. Nobody outside of my organization could get the script, not even the same company. They couldn't have the scripts. Our trainings were closed. So when we came out to the general marketplace, people ate it up like crazy. Right. Tens of thousands of people ate it up like crazy because the training doesn't exist any other place, and the results are not out there by so many other people that call themselves trainers. So he came and he spent 10 years, from 18 to 28. His name is Jefferson. For 10 years, he flopped around in the home-based business industry, believed in it so badly, worked with millionaires. They are who sponsored him. And for 10 years, he could never make more than $30,000 a year. $2,500 a month was the most that he could generate, but he was spending more than what he was making. So he came out to First Steps to Success in New York. Actually, it was January 25th and 26th in New York City. He came out to that event, and prior to that, he was listening online, listening to the calls that are inside our Smarter Networker, and he was listening to some of our audio programs. After First Steps, now this is going to blow your mind. He's 28 years old. Every month I saw him, and every day he was listening. His first year, And again, I told him the same story that I just told about the woman that you guys had brought in. Put no less than 10 brand new people in front of me every single month, and you'll make no less than a 6-figure income. Well, that plan failed for Jefferson. He didn't make $100,000 his first year. He made $350,000 his first year.
Wow.
His second year, $750,000. He's a millionaire today.
Yeah. Awesome.
$750,000. Hello? 28 and 29 years old.
That's outrageous.
Right? After 10 years of failing. So if you're somebody like him, that you were struggling for years, struggling and trying to find the right home-based business, or thinking it was the product, thinking it was the company, thinking it was something else, that you've persisted and you've tried all these, you bought all these different training materials that are out there because it seemed to be a popular thing to do. You've heard all the advice from all these different people, but you still don't have the results. That was Jefferson. He was the same exact way. It wasn't until he came and graced the format and the system that Smarter Networker has today for you, customized and free, the 30-day boot camp, as well as our live training events with the Home Business Entrepreneurs Workshop. It wasn't until then that he tapped in consistently. And by the way, he raised up 6 six-figure income earners in that same time.
That's awesome.
6 people. He never had anyone make money before.
That's awesome.
So now he had all this leadership that's being developed and
Right.
has even more thousands and thousands of people he has in a business with him today.
That's so cool.
I know, I love it.
That's an awesome story. Before we finish up, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the leaders that are in the business now that might be making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, $10,000 a month, but they're stuck, they're plateaued.
Yep.
And a recent story, Tommy was just sharing with in Florida just a couple weekends ago about how his check in just what was 1-2 months grew 27%.
5 weeks.
In 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's
After using Smarter Network.
And he doesn't have a small check. He's got a big check. He's got thousands of people in his team, and 27% is
huge.
Huge.
Yeah, no, he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah. And he just plugged his team, got his team in.
Not even all of them. He did a little test.
Right.
He actually did a little test with a small group of people, and those small group of people, in fact, the new people, here's what he said. He got to go back to sponsoring again.
Right.
So that made him more money.
Right.
The second thing is the people he was sponsoring, he was birthing them directly on Smarter Networker from moment one.
Yep.
And 2 of the new people that he got started both made $1,700 to $2,000 in their first 3 weeks of business. He said, I've never had that happen. I've never sponsored somebody, and within 3 weeks they made even $1,000, let alone $1,700 and $2,000 inside of a 3-week period. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I love too that it gets people to stay on what makes them money, which is recruiting and selling.
Yes.
I mean, I remember you saying 100 times a week, recruit and sell all day long. That's all you were supposed to do ever. And people get so sucked into all the people that want your time. Oh, show me how to do this. Show me. And really,
will you do a product training?
Yeah. Will you talk to this person for me? It doesn't make you any money.
It doesn't.
And that was what the cool thing about Tommy is like, I had my best month recruiting in a long time. His team is recruiting like crazy.
Yes.
His checks are going up, not because he's doing more, he's just doing what he should be doing.
Yes.
And his team is now doing the same thing.
Yes.
And that's exciting.
The answer to any of your current business problems are follow directions, read the script, book some presentations, and then read another script. Seriously. If you've got problems in your business right now and you've got people who are gossiping and totally unfocused and paying attention to stupid things, it's because someone stopped recruiting. And oftentimes the someone was you. Yep. So if you want your business to move forward, it's real simple. Get people started on the Smarter Networker process. It's a beautiful system. Daily, you're going to get an email reminding you to listen to that very next call. And to just do what I tell you to do in the calls. Friend, I have helped a lot of people become millionaires. And that totally hasn't happened on my own efforts. I can tell you that right now. It's been by something much bigger than myself. And all of this training that I learned through really hard knocks and bad failures and working with people, tens of thousands of people I've worked with in my lifetime. That's a lot of experience that we put together in simple little 1-hour trainings that are available for you. So get started today on that. What are you waiting for? Your competitors are using it. Gosh, that'd be lame, wouldn't it? Your competitors are using it. They're building faster, making more money with less stress. Isn't that where you got started in the business that you're in? If you're going to do this, you might as well make good cash doing it. And your people might as well make good cash doing it. If you're going to do this, you might as well become a professional at it instead of being another one of those mediocre amateurs who talk like they know what they're doing, but their paycheck proves they don't. If your income's stuck, test us. Test out Smarter Networker. Put a group of people on it, see what happens.